this is the cam cover I'm going to put on the car now. Someone's already before me put the AN10 bungs on there. They've had to put the rivets out and do the whole hard bit, so I've just bought it kind of done. And what I need to do is get rid of this bit of rust. I'm going to try and use some this Scotch-Brite there, and then I've got some Nitromorse. I'm going to take off paint. So once I've done all this, I'll put it through a parts washer again, then I'll paint it. I've just gone through this whole thing with the Scotch-Brite and made it a little bit nicer. That bit there that was rusty, you can see it's a little bit pitted, probably had some water sticking in it when it was being stored, but either way it's cleaned up, and I'll, like I say, I'll go through and make sure that that's all parts washed anyway. Now to take off this green paint, because I've got different plans for it, I'm going to use some Nitromorse and a little container, kind of doing its job. I want to leave it for about 10 minutes and let it blister up. So after the second coat, using a scraper which is non-mar, you can see I'm getting back to the actual raw surface. I have a lot of fun, but stage 1 complete, and I just need to finish that off and get the remaining paint off it. I've finally got a new video camera. It's actually the same model V700 Panasonic I had before, but this time I haven't stepped on the viewfinder, so you probably noticed in the last few videos the viewfinder's been all over the place, but that's because I couldn't see anything because I cracked it. Either way, this is the cam cover. You notice that I've taken all the paint off it, well, pretty much. I've done as good a job as I can be bothered to do anyway. It's been through a parts washer, so it's all quite clean. It's still got bits and bobs with the old green on it, but this is as good as I can be bothered to do. So I'm going to put probably a bin liner underneath it and spray it with a bit of VHT Wrinkle Plus in red. So this is a high temperature paint, and will be a nice job hopefully. So it says to spray it one way, leave it 5 minutes, spray it the other way, leave it 5 minutes, and then spray it diagonally and leave 5 minutes, and then wait, I think 48 hours before you can actually refit it. 24 hours should be okay to touch, 48 hours before you fit it. So I need to be getting on with that before I actually put it back on the car. So that's why I'm trying to be quick. So let's put a bin liner down, and then let's go ahead. First coat, you see what's going on. Always non-ideal painting outside, and the temperature definitely isn't ideal, and humidity isn't, but you know, you just got to work with what you've got really, haven't you? So let's give that 5 minutes to dry off and then hit it with another coat. Obviously I had to spray the cam cover outside, but now I brought it inside next to a radiator, and it's just drying off nicely. Looks like I've done actually a reasonable job on it. There's a couple of bits in it, but I'm not really too bothered, and it's going to crinkle anyway, so it'll probably hide any imperfections, but other than that I think it came off quite well. Again, a couple of runs in the paint, probably put too much paint down, but being crinkle, I'm hoping it's going to hide all of my slightly average spray job, and we'll see what happens. That's going to be probably tomorrow now when we can see the final result. So here's the finished article, or almost finished. I've just got to take the masking tape off, but also I want to sand these things flat, so I want to get some very fine sandpaper and a block of wood and just knock the top of these off. Right, so here's the cam cover. I've sanded down the Honda VTEC and double overhead camshaft bit. It's an average job. It's good from afar, but far from good. I'm just going to make sure there's no, well, there's nothing on it or anything. I'm just going to take off all the tape, take off this, which is a matter of just some 10 mils, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then take this obviously off and just quickly switch it around, and the next shot you'll see is it's on there, and I obviously need to rob the seal out of it. Right, now this is the catch can you saw before with AN10 connections. You can see I've just moved around the sight tube. It's now diagonal, but it doesn't really make any difference. And then I've got, instead of the cap, I've got an air filter on top, and this is quite a strange fitting. I believe it's 3/4 UNF to barb, which is I'll put the spec in the description, but it's quite a strange fitting. Either way, you can find them online, so I've got one, and I'm going to cut it down so that air filter is going to be a lot smaller than, or a lot shorter than that. Anyway, so I can cut down that brass fitting, and then that whole thing moves down. And then what I've done here in the bulkhead, you see I've got a Rivnut, and then I've got a position for the other Rivnut, the lower of those two black dots. I'm going to show you how to go about doing that. It's the best place for it really, because if I grab it and show you, so that goes there like that. It's roughly like that, so you can see why I need to cut down the air filter a bit. But it's going to go like that, and then the two lines are going to run forward and around the side, then into my cam cover. So that's the plan, at least anyway. Now what do I need to do? So this one went in quite happily because it's on a flat, and then drill a hole which is going to start off quite small and then go to 9mm for the Rivnut, which is an M6 times 1.0. So I'm just put a centre punch then. So there we have it, there's a 9mm hole. This is the little tool you can buy for doing Rivnuts. You just wind the little Rivnut in there, place it in there, and then just with a 17mm and a 13mm, I believe, you just tighten this nut down while holding that still, and it will just pull the Rivnut down, and this little spine bit kind of collapses, and that's what holds it in place. So I'm just going to rub a bit of silicone around it just so it can't leak into the car. That's what I did with that one anyway. And once that's done, because I didn't have much luck in trying to turn this round, I'm going to just basically put it in like that, and then I'm going to use the 10mm itself on a washer and tighten. That should tighten itself down onto that a bit flatter. So here's the spanner setup. You obviously got the 13 at the back, 17 at the front, doing that up. Then we can just take the spanners off and begin unwinding this whole tool. There it all goes, and then just basically wipe off the excess, because it's just a silicone sealant extra you won't want kicking about. That's how to do a Rivnut. There it is, all situated. I obviously need to cut down that brass fitting there to get the air filter lower, but I'm quite happy with that. Just 2 bolts seems to be fine, and it's not going anywhere. So if you have a look, very solid. That's nice. So all I need to do now is fit the cam cover, which I'll show you now what it looks like, and just make the AN lines. These are all off. Just need to remember to connect all the earths again, and then just need to pick these off as well, and then take these 4 10mm out the middle. Also need to pluck out the HT leads, get them out of the way a bit, and we're almost there. Alright, that's all out now, with these little cover things. I should just be able to pull this up, but it might take a few taps to get it up. It's been there for a bit. The red valve cover is installed. I put a bit of Honda Bond in the usual areas, just either side of ding, 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 ding. Also, this is the cut-off one, so you can see your cam gears. So I probably, if I was bothered about that, I would just remove this lower section as well, so I can get at the cam gears, but I'm just going to leave it like that, it's fine. And then I just need to do a quick cut off here. So I'm going to cut 3 of these barbs off, because then I can fit the filter better on the back there. That's the barb cut off there, and actually cuts pretty nicely. I'm just going to get a file and just file off a little chamfer all the way around. So there we have it, it's all cleaned up, and that will fit nicely on there. And I'm going to use a 28mm socket to tighten it up. It doesn't need to be ridiculously tight, and I'll probably put a bit of thread tape on there. Again, doesn't really need to be on there, but may as well. Here she is then, and when the bonnet closes, it's probably going to push this down a bit, but it won't make any real big difference, I shouldn't think. I could probably even trim some of this off, but whatever, it is what it is. So that's done. Now I need to make these AN10 lines. So I've obviously got the ones going into the tank, and then from here, so it gives me an idea of how much kind of line I need. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it from this side. So this one is going to come round the short loop and go into the back there. This one is going to come around the outside and go to the one on the right. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is do this line. So I'll take this out here. It's AN10. And then I'm going to make the connection. I'll show you how that works. I've shown you how to do it in AN6, but AN10 is the same. And then I'm going to figure out how much length I need, cut it off, and then make the other connector. Bought the cool tool set. It comes with an AN10 one, and then all you do is you it's in two halves. You open it up. Sometimes you need to use that spacer, sometimes you don't. So if I just set that down on here, and then you let's just presume I won't use the spacer for now. Undo this part, place this in the cool tool like that, and get the other part of the shell, place on top of there like that. So that's in there. And then what I do is I get my AN10 line, place the cool tool in a vise, and then just push it in. But basically you can use a twisting motion, and that should get this whole thing started. There's the cool tool in the vise with the part of the connector in there. I'm just going to push in from this end, the end of the hose, after I've taken the tape off. So in the end, I actually placed it in the vise with the cool tool facing up, shoved it in there, twisted at the same time, and you can see I'm actually a little bit too far in. So if I just unwind it a little bit back, I'll show you where I want it. Here we go, that's about right, I think. And then I'm going to use some of this 3-in-1 oil, and then I'm just going to wind in the connector, wherever it's gone, here, wind that in, and then show you. So there we have the oil on the threads. That just helps everything start up, and I can wind it by hand when it gets tough. I'm just going to tighten them against each other and try and go so they're both at the flats meet. One line made. Now I just need to put that on the cam cover and see how much I need for length to make the first cut. Line connected here. Just do it up as much as it will go. Probably should put some oil on that when I do it up, make it nice and easy. And let's come around here, here, and then go to here. So if that's level there, you can see if that's in the middle. I always do it in the middle of the tape as the cut, so that'll be about there, and that will be quite nice. If anything, I'll probably have it a little bit tighter. I'll probably do it a little bit shorter actually, just to make sure that it's closer, because I need to run two lines obviously there. So let's do that. So I'm going to go in with my quantum blade. I'm not going to use the other tool I had because these blades actually fit a little bit differently. They've got a bit of an offset. Anyway, it's a nice little blade. I'm going to go in there, shing, let's cut that down the middle of the tape there. So here we have the end just being sliced through. It's quite a nice clean cut when you use the nice 0.8mm cut-off blades. And I'm just going to clean this up so no crap's getting in there, or has got in there, and let's just fit the end like before, but this time it's going to be the one that's on the catch can. Right, simple as that. There's one side, and that's AN10 90, and this is AN10 90 but goes to ORB8, which is what I need on the catch can. I'm just going to screw that in. Might put a dab of oil on there just to let the threads go in and show what it looks like. One tip is when the whole thing's tightened up, it's hard to turn these things, so you can just undo the two from each other, and then you'll be able to get in the right position, and then once you've done that you can tighten them back on. So that's one side in. I think it looks pretty good. So now I just need to put the other one in, which is going to be the same process, slightly longer line. Two more things. I'm always using these aluminium AN spanners so you don't mark up the nice AN fittings we have. And I'm using the tape also to stop the braid from kind of going crazy and splitting around. You see, when you cut it with the tape on, it keeps everything nice and bunched up. You can see that. I'll show you better. You see the braid doesn't go everywhere. So I've made my mark, and I'm just going to quickly saw through. Another thing, once you've made your cut, it's always a bit dirty down in there. You've got bits of shaving and stuff, and I tend to use an earbud and just go in and just hoik that stuff out, and then blow down one end, and any remaining stuff should go. Right, I don't mind saying it, I'm quite happy with that. AN10 around the back to the catch can. You can see it's a fairly neat job. So as you saw in the previous video, I fitted this Torx breather catch can, and what that means is that my engine now can pass any oil vapour from the top of the head into the catch can. It separates the air, so that goes out the air filter at the top there. Oil lands up in the bottom of that catch can. Now the original setup is here, and if you run the engine, you put your hand down here, you can actually feel it puffing away, and then when you get on to boost and you basically pressurise your crankcase, that pressurised air comes out here with that oil vapour, and then you can smell it in the cabin. It's not particularly nice, and it's not a great idea to have that just milling around your engine bay anyway. So what you can do is pipe that into your catch can, because that would usually go back into your intake and then back into your engine, but I'm going to put it back into the catch can. And then I've got this, which is an ORB8, which is what the thread is on here at the back, to a barb, and the barb is the same size as this. So step one was taking out these ORB 8s to the side, which go the whole way to the front of the cam cover. Then I took out the two bungs, which are both sides, swapped the sight tube to that side and tightened it up, placed the bung in the bottom, which is down there, and then I just need to get the little seal on this and place this at the back, at the top, and then I can run my tube to the OEM breather at the front. That's in there like that. From there to the back, now I just need to connect up my two lines to the front, and then we're done. Hold them back together. That's the two breathe tubes you saw before, and the OEM one going back in here. Sight tubes on the side there. Everything's done up, and hopefully now, when I'm ripping it around, shouldn't get that smell of oil anymore, which is coming through from the OEM one that was going to atmosphere.